Hi guys, welcome to Twist Gaming. We are here with Andrew Wolf from USAoply, and he is here to talk to us about some of his really awesome upcoming games from USAoply. But first, I'm going to be super nosy, which I've already warned Andrew about. So I think at BGG Con I met, I'm going to mess it up, Ross.
Yes.
I was going to say Russ. I was going back and forth between Ross and Russ. But I don't think I had the opportunity to meet you.
I was at BGG. I was probably running around playing a game or I don't know what, but Ross was definitely in the booth most of the time doing a lot of the demos, so really appreciate the work he did there, and establishing a relationship with you guys and getting us to connect so that we can share some of the stuff here.
That is awesome.
So I'm kind of playing the Ross role for this weekend, for this week. This weekend? I don't know. I know, and I always associate a show with like a weekend
kind of thing.
So to have it like in the middle of a week, I feel like, well, today's kind of like Thursday because it's set up, and then the show starts Friday, but it's really Tuesday, and it messes with your head.
I can imagine that. And we're East Coasters. This is my first time personally out to Las Vegas or Nevada, so my time zones are all messed up. My days are all messed up. I kind of just go where people tell me to go.
I know how you feel. I felt that way when we were at New York Toy Fair a couple of weeks ago. We're West Coast, so this is an easier.
Oh, so it's backwards.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Yep.
So what did you do? What did you do before USAoply? How did you get into USAoply? How did you get into board gaming in general?
Well, I've really been a fan of gaming probably my whole life. But I think my entry point into working in the game industry started with Magic the Gathering, where I used to play and compete professionally back in the late 90s and early 2000s. And through relationships, I built up competing on the pro circuit. I parlayed that into a job with Upper Deck.
Okay.
Doing game development for some of their TCGs.
Okay.
And then I spent some time working at Cryptozoic and eventually ended up at USAoply. And all of it is located in the sort of Southern California, San Diego, Orange County area.
Okay.
So I was fortunate to be able to kind of stay in one place and not have to move around too much, even though I bounced around from job to job a little bit. But fortunately, was able to kind of have that location. Stay
in the same location, stay in the same industry, kind of move around. I've noticed that this industry is very tight-knit as I've gone on. So you kind of have a special place in your heart for games, like they're CCGs, collectible card games, TCGs?
Yeah. So I started playing Magic in the early 90s, really when the game initially launched, and got really invested in that and competed professionally and forged a whole bunch of great friendships that I still have to this day. That's awesome. And used those relationships and developed a skill set that allowed me to transition from just being a fan and a player to actually working in the industry.
And I'm sure your experience really translated very well when you were working with Upper Deck. You were able to see everything from the player perspective into the development that you were doing for them.
Absolutely.
So that's great. I love it. I mentioned it in my interview with Josh Giddens. I love seeing people who were players first or hobbyists first, then move into the industry, because they are able to bring that perspective along and make sure that the things that they're producing or putting out there are stuff players are really going to want to enjoy.
Absolutely, yeah. It really helps to have that perspective and be able to, sit down and say, all right, if I wasn't working on this game and if I was just a fan or a player of this game, how would I feel about it? And, what does it feel authentic? Especially with all the stuff that we do around the licenses.
Right.
We try and position it as like story first.
Right.
And how can we be as authentic to the license so that that fan is going to share that experience? And how can we sort of extend their fandom through storytelling, which is what we try and do with whatever license we're working with, whether it's something like Harry Potter and the deck building game or these Codenames games. Even though there might not be a really deep story to tell, as long as we can find good ways to engage the fans and sort of embrace and honor the license, that's what we really want to prioritize.
That's very cool.
Thanks.
So what are you most excited about upcoming from USAoply?
There are a whole bunch of things we have.
I know I'm asking you to kind of pick a favorite baby.
Gosh. Well, here, I'll start with this actually because I can kind of pull it out.
Sure.
And this is actually on shelf now. It just released. It's Munchkin X-Men.
Okay.
So this is the fourth licensed Munchkin game that we've released.
What are 1, 2, and 3?
We did Adventure Time.
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
Marvel, and now X-Men, sort of to kind of pivot off of the success we had with Marvel. So this is, I think it launched last week. It should be available now, or it's shipping into retailers in the weeks to come.
Okay.
So fans can get their hands on this very quickly. And I'm really excited about this because I was the development lead on it.
Congratulations.
So I got to sort of customize all the content for the X-Men version of the game. I also did all the work for leading development for all the Marvel stuff. So it was fun to kind of follow it through with the Marvel and the 2 Marvel expansions into X-Men, and then we actually have a expansion for this focusing just on Deadpool that'll be coming out later this year as well. So we've got a bunch of great new Munchkin content coming out that I'm really excited about, and that's very near on the horizon.
Very cool.
In addition to that, we're also going to be doing another Munchkin game coming out later this fall around Rick and Morty.
Very cool.
So Rick and Morty fans, of which I definitely include myself as one of, are going to have a really fun opportunity to mash up that world and all that crazy storytelling with some really fun Munchkin gameplay. Whatever we attach a Munchkin license to, we want to really make sure it makes a lot of sense from the gameplay perspective. And things like Rick and Morty and Marvel and X-Men and Nightmare and all the way back to Adventure Time all felt like really natural fits.
Translate to me what that means to you, how you felt that they were natural fits.
So for anyone who's familiar with Munchkin gameplay, players are competing to level up and be the first to reach level 10 and win. And it can be a little bit competitive, and you can have opportunities to cooperate. But the thing that we find most engaging is how you can kind of immerse yourself in the storytelling and the interaction between the characters and the various other plots and events and items and sort of storytelling opportunities you get with the Munchkin gameplay.
Yeah.
So that's what I find is particularly engaging with it. And just, and the other thing that's really nice, particularly about Munchkin, is that there's that inherent sense of humor. So something
the game doesn't take itself too seriously.
Right, it doesn't take itself too seriously. So with something like Rick and Morty, which has a very humorous bent to it as well, right, they pair up really nicely.
That makes
so
sense.
You get to celebrate your fandom with something like Rick and Morty, but do it in a kind of fun new way, pairing it up with that traditional Munchkin gameplay.
Very cool.
So yeah, so we're really excited about these new Munchkin opportunities that we have, starting with X-Men and then Deadpool and then Rick and Morty coming out later this year.
It's very exciting.
So that is one of the things that I'm particularly excited about.
Were you also lead for that, or just for the...
I did the lead development work for X-Men and Deadpool. We had other team members, a guy named Casey, who did the lead for Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good to get a fresh perspective. I had done the work for all the Marvel stuff and the X-Men stuff and the original one that we did with Adventure Time. So it's nice to kind of mix it up and let other people have their opportunity to do the design and development work and give a fresh perspective. But Casey did a really great job with Rick and Morty, and we're really excited about that. And I know everyone's awaiting season 3 with bated breath, as are we. So I think when season 3 finally does get announced, and I don't know anything more than anybody else does, I'm sure you're looking for some kind of inside information like, oh, you probably know when season 3 is going to come out. I wish I did. I don't. And if I did, I couldn't tell you anyway. But it's definitely, as far as I know, it's definitely going to come out this year, and we think that that's really going to elevate Rick and Morty and bring a whole bunch of new fans into it.
Is the Rick and Morty version of Munchkin? Do you have a release date or an idea for that one? I know you said that the X-Men is coming on the shelves this week.
Yep, I think we had some copies available at PAX East last week through our partnership with Steve Jackson Games.
Okay.
And it's probably going to hit store shelves in the next week or two.
Oh, okay.
Rick and Morty will be coming out later this fall. I think it's targeted for an August release date.
Okay.
Don't hold me to that, but that's what we're aiming for.
Okay. The fall-ish area.
Yep. August, maybe early September. But yeah, around that sort of Gen Con time frame.
Okay. Sounds good.
Great. What else are we excited about? So, hit on a couple other things.
You guys can't see this, but Andrew's brought a giant box of goodies.
I did. So, in 2015, we released a game called Nefarious.
This is pretty neat.
Yeah, so this is a mad scientist game. It was originally released, I think, in the early 2000s, had a very limited print run, and kind of went in and out of the market.
This isn't a game box that I remember coming across or seeing.
It's not new to our line. We relaunched it in 2015.
Okay.
And it's done pretty well. It had a fan following from a previous release with a different publisher. Then it went off the market, so we've sort of re-released it. It's got all new art, and it's got the Donald X. Vaccarino name attached to it. He's the designer of games like Dominion.
Okay.
So his name obviously carries a lot of weight.
Draws some attention.
In the industry. We're really excited about this game. It's done performed really well for us, and in order to continue to support it, we have an expansion for it coming out later this year.
So tell me a little bit about this game, because I personally am unfamiliar with it.
Sure. So Nefarious, the mad scientist game, has players taking the role of a mad scientist competing to take over the world by being the first to build 20 points worth of inventions.
Okay.
It's a simultaneous action selection game, so players secretly choose one of 4 actions they reveal, and then you take turns executing those actions. And you can either create new inventions or collect money that you need to pay to build those inventions. You can spy on your opponents to gain resources. The gameplay is very simple in its essence. The fun thing about the game is that there are 36 plot twists, and all of them create different rules that create wrinkles for gameplay.
Okay.
So it has a ton of replayability in that you can mix and match these plot twists. You reveal 2 at the beginning of each game, and to keep things fresh and interesting and different so that no 2 games are ever alike.
So what does the expansion add to that?
It has more inventions that have some new abilities to allow some fun new ways to interact with other players. It has some new action selections, so instead of those 4 basic action choices, you get 3 new actions you can add to the mix that are going to change things up, and it has a whole bunch of new plot twists. So it's really taking everything that people are familiar with and adding more to it, like taking it to 11.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. The expansion we have targeted for, I want to say, a June release date, right around the Origins timeframe.
Okay.
And the core game, so this is available now. If you haven't checked it out, it's a ton of fun. And then this expansion should be hitting shelves around June.
Perfect.
To add even more cool stuff to the mix.
So if you have not yet picked up the game, now is a great time to pick it up, and by the time the expansion comes out, you'll be a pro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Another game that we launched this game last year, and it went exclusively to Target. That was sort of our test market.
Okay.
It was a game called Rollers. It's a pressure luck dice game.
Okay.
And the origin behind the game are actually kind of steeped in the traditions of darts. I don't know if you are familiar with cricket darts as a gameplay mechanic.
No.
So the way it works in darts is when people are playing sort of competitively, you're trying to close out numbers on the board. So the first person to actually hit particular spots on the dartboard, like 15 through 20, and then score points against the other player, is going to be the winner. So we took that mechanic and applied it to a dice game.
Okay.
So now you're trying to roll and collect sets of dice, and the first person to fill out their player board by rolling certain combinations, like 1-1, and then 2-2s, 3-3s, 4-4s, 5-5s, and then score points against your other players if by being the first to...
What do you mean by score points against your other players?
So everybody has a personal game board. You roll, and when you roll a certain combination, you get to fill in that section on your game board. Once you've got that section filled, if you roll that combination, you can then score points against the opponents who don't have that section filled. So it's sort of a race to be the first to fill out your board.
Okay.
And strategically look for the opportunities where other players sort of have openings, they haven't filled out sections, to collect points against them.
Okay.
Which happens through an exchange of chips.
Okay.
Right? So like once I've got a section closed, if you don't have that section closed, if I roll that combination, I collect points from you. And then whoever has the most chips is going to earn points. Whoever can be the first to close out their entire board also earns points. So it's light, it's fast, it's fun, it's got some nice little strategic elements, it's got some take that and press your luck dice mechanics to it. And so we're going to be coming out with a 6-player version of the game that will be launching later this year.
And what is the group range for this game? If you're saying that you're coming, because this is 2 to 6 players.
So we also the target version. It was 2 to 5 players. We're going to come out with this. It's going to add a 6th player so that you can play with a bigger group.
Okay.
And it's got some really cool new styling. We're really excited about this art style.
The art style is very appropriate for GAMA. It's very Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. So we really want to embrace that sort of pressure luck dice feel with all this, so we're excited about this new packaging and bringing this to the specialty market later this year.
Awesome. Very cool.
Cool. Let's see, what else do we got here? 2 more things. So
yeah.
I'll start with this. I can't show you that part. I can show you this stuff. This. These.
What is this?
This is our Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix card game. So in this game, so we're really excited about the new movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's coming out in May. It's going to be awesome. And we are developing a whole game program around the Guardians of the Galaxy. So we have a Monopoly game, a Yahtzee game, and we've also created this new signature game called the Awesome Mix card game, where players take on the role of the different Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. So you can play a Star-Lord, or Groot, or Rocket, or Gamora, and you're all competing with one another. And so if you're familiar with the characters in the storyline, they're begrudgingly a team, but they're also competing to one-up one another. Yeah. So in this game, what you're doing is trying to avoid elimination. So it has some bluffing and take that elements where you're trying to avoid sort of capture from the authorities by making sure that you don't have the lowest item value each round. Okay. Everybody gets dealt a card, and then you have the opportunity to trade cards.
Face up, face down?
They're dealt out face down originally. Everybody gets one. Then you go around and you have the opportunity to trade with your neighbors. Then everybody flips up their cards, and if you reveal the lowest value item, basically you've presented yourself as the weakest for that round, and you're going to gain a wanted mark as you've gained the attention of the authorities. Okay. And if the first...
You're a thief, but not a very good one.
Right. Well, you're trying to be the best you can. Right. But you're also competing with one another. That's why you can trade stuff back and forth, and it's got some take that elements to it. It's like, I've got this low value card. I don't want it. You're getting it, and you're trying to avoid elimination. When you gain 4 wanted marks, you're out of the game, and last player left standing wins. Okay. And then there's a lot of fun added mixes, the awesome mix nature of it that we've included in the game, where you get these cards that you can use to modify your values. So you're like, well, actually, I'm going to give your value item a -4. So you thought you had something really high, and now all of a sudden it's worthless to you. You can buff up the value of your own items. You can stop people from trading. There's a lot of ways to create a lot of more interaction between the players. Really akin to the storytelling aspects of Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's very cool. I saw the mixtape on the back of the card, and that piqued my interest. So that's awesome that you guys have done. It's an awesome mix, and it mixes up.
Yep, mixes up the gameplay. And then we have an event deck too, so you can layer that in as well. And those are going to create additional situations that might change up the gameplay each round. Like instead of the lowest value item getting a mark, the highest value item now is going to get a mark. Or everybody that has 2 or more cards in their hand might get a mark. So there's going to be different events that are going to kind of keep things fresh and mix it up, and just it's an awesome mixed game. And it really, again, like we said, we like to embrace the storytelling, embrace the license, and we feel like this really does a good job of that for Guardians of the Galaxy. So we're excited about this, and then. So this will, and the whole program will be coming out around the movie time. Obviously, we want to take advantage of all that excitement. So you can look for stuff
so that's pretty
Guardians.
Soon then.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yep. Right around that, that May, June time frame. And one last thing we have that I've got some show and tell for is this new game that we're coming out with called Super Mario Level Up.
Okay. I love it. This excites me very much. I'm a video game nerd.
Of course you guys are.
So
right. What were we saying? Who did you notice? Yoshi?
Yoshi, yeah. I didn't see anything on the box but Yoshi, and then I got very excited.
Nice. So the inception for this game came about when we were looking at some classic games that didn't get quite enough attention, and we felt like by partnering up with a really strong license that could have some really fun opportunities for storytelling, could really shine again. So there was a game that came out in the early 2000s called King Up from Da Vinci Games, who are, I think, most well known for Bang. So we've partnered with them in the past to make different themed versions of Bang, Walking Dead Bang, and Halo Bang. But we really liked the King Up mechanic, and we felt like it made sense for Mario. So what we did is took the time to kind of figure out how can we kind of tell the story of Mario and friends using this King Up mechanic, which basically is this. So each player is going to have a card that's going to list 6 characters, and these characters are all represented by these movers that are going to be positioned on this board. So maybe hold that.
Of course.
You hold that. So at the start of the game, players are going to take turn placing the characters on these various levels on the board. Each player is going to have a card that's going to list 6 of the 13 characters that are going to be on the board. And it's your goal to score points for your 6 characters while trying to make sure that the other 7 characters that aren't listed on your lineup card don't score any points. The way that works is players are going to take turns moving characters up, and you can see that the levels start at 0 and they go up to 10. So the higher your characters on your lineup card are, the more points you're going to score from at the end of the round.
And it skips quite drastically between 5 and 10.
Yeah, the reason for that is because each time a character is moved up to this top level, players all vote on whether they want that character to be the next level up champion. And if all players vote yes, then that ends the round, and then you score for the position of all the characters on the board. But if somebody votes no, that character is removed from the board. They've been knocked out of the Mushroom Kingdom, and they're not going to score any points for the round.
And the no is a thwomp, which is absolutely adorable.
Yep. And each player basically has a yes vote that they can use an unlimited number of times, but only 2 no votes that they can cast. And players vote secretly. So you're looking at your lineup card, trying to determine
if you're happy with your positions, if you're going to get the most points, if you stop the round where you're at. You only have 2 options to say no.
Right. So you're taking times like, want to spend more time moving my characters up, or do I want to try and maybe move a character up to the top level?
How badly do I need those 5 points between 5 and 10? The payoff, the risk, if I'm going to make it up there.
Exactly. And so it also has some bluffing elements because you don't know how everyone's going to vote, and you don't know
and the votes are secret. The
votes are secret. And you don't know who has which characters on lineup cards. So there's going to be some overlap. I might have Bowser on my card, and you might have Bowser on your card, but somebody else doesn't. So when we move them up here, we're going to vote yes, of course. But somebody else might vote no. But they might not want to vote no because they might want to save it for something else. So it all becomes strategic in when you cast those votes, how you move these characters up on the board, how you position the characters as you go along. And it has a lot of little fun kind of strategic and bluffing elements to it. And we've created this really cool 3D game board.
That's what I'm eyeing.
Yeah, so it has a great table presence. It really presents itself really well visually. And then we added a couple other twists to gameplay. So we've got these question blocks. When you move a character up to a level that has a question block, you reveal it, and it could do things like move the character up again immediately, So that would trigger a vote even if you weren't prepared for it. Could knock your characters back down. We could have things like Bullet Bill that knock everybody down a level. You can get some bonus cards that you can play. So there's a really ton, a lot of cool gameplay that's integrated into this Mario theme with the King Up mechanics. So
this is a really nice marriage between a license and a game. This is a good job.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, that's what we always try and do is, embrace the themes of the license and create some fun storytelling. And we felt like with this King Up mechanic that we're applying to what we're calling Mario Level Up, it really makes a ton of sense in the world with all of the moving the characters around, trying to get to the castle, encountering question blocks along the way, playing powers up, and just having all the characters kind of competing to see who's going to be the level up champion.
I like it.
Great. So I know that's a ton of stuff. Hopefully nobody's too overwhelmed, but we're really excited about a lot of the stuff that we have coming out later this year. So I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of share it all with you.
No, I appreciate you guys coming and sharing all of this with us. We're very fortunate to have you guys come and do the interview and share all these awesome new games, all this awesome content. They're really cool. I'm very excited about these.
Thank you. Yeah, again, I'm really excited about it too. And it's, for a little while it kind of slowed down, but now that we have the chance to kind of share everything, we're really excited again.
It seems like you've got things coming out from May all the way to August really lined up to hit the shelves.
Absolutely. So, do you have any other questions for me?
No, I don't think so. Anything in chat, Josh? We're good. Awesome. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. Guys, this is Anne from Twist Gaming with Andrew Wolf from USAoply, signing off. Bye, guys.
Bye.